Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you are very welcome to this video all about 4 new exciting houseplants I've just recently purchased. Let's see what I got. I always think that winter, or January as we find ourselves in now, is the perfect time to buy houseplants because we get driven indoors by the weather. And if you can see outside, it's actually snowing here today. We've had a shocking mild winter, but today it's snowing. And it's great to give yourself a little bit of a treat at this time of year. And I did that recently when I visited my local garden centre and bought 3 fabulous houseplants, but I have 4 to show you today. And the first one I have to show is this one right here. Now, this beauty here is a Dracaena. And the thing about Dracaena is that they are bulletproof. This is a plant that can withstand so much abuse for so many years and still come up smiling. And this is Dracaena fragrans, and in the wild it wants to grow to be a tree. I'm just inserting some little clips of this plant in a garden in Tenerife where it's allowed to do its thing and grow tall and be a tree. This one, on the other hand, is a small plant which will in time develop a trunk and become a tree, but for the moment I will enjoy these amazing leaves. Just look at that. Look at the variety of colours going on in there. Now, you may be more familiar with the Dracaena fragrans called lemon and lime, which has very yellowy leaves. It's one that I grew for years and years and years with no trouble at all. And it's one that I bought for my daughter when she moved out, so that she'd have some house plants in her new apartment. And of course, as she wasn't interested in plants, it got a lot of abuse over the years. But still, you know, when she moved back in, it came with her and it was still alive. We had it for more than 10 years. Just such an easy plant. They can deal with very low light and they can deal with irregular watering. So yeah, for somebody who doesn't have time to spend on houseplants, I think this one really is the perfect thing. They do like warmth though, and my plant here, you'll notice, has some black marks on the leaf, which it had when I bought it, and I'm not quite sure what that's down to. Perhaps too low temperatures, perhaps overwatering, but in any case, yeah, gorgeous, isn't it? So, I mean, we all have finicky plants in our collections that we are prepared to put a lot of time and energy into. But I think it's also great to have some amazing backdrops like this, which just looks fantastic in any display with its gorgeous leaves with the different stripes of different shades of green and cream. And it's a plant I don't need to worry about. I know it's going to do well. The only thing to be aware of is that if you do keep it in low light, then you need to make sure that you water it less. So in winter it needs, watering maybe every month or every twice a month. It's really that low maintenance. So wonderful thing to have. And also to rotate it. So if you have this where the light is over here, then over time, as the plant develops a trunk, it'll tend to lean into that direction. So just every time you water it, rotate it a little bit to make sure it grows upright. Super duper. Okay, so this just came as Dracaena fragrans mix. I don't know if it's a registered cultivar that they just didn't bother to put the name on, but in any case, I'm very happy to have it, and I will just cut off those dark marks on the leaf in a little while. Okay, second one was a begonia, and look at this. Okay, let's take this one out. Oh, begonias. I was recently looking at an amazing video on YouTube of somebody's begonia collection, and I realized that I think I would like nothing more than, begonias of this size. I love this kind of specimen size where they are really just beginning to look amazing. I don't like the tiny little things, the cuttings that persist in small pots for a couple of years. I like the big specimens, but space is the issue. Now, house begonias like this, and many of them are hybrids of Rex. They do well in a variety of home environments. They need regular home temperatures, but they need less light as well. And I have grown these successfully on north-facing windows, for example, where they've done so well. Now, what I love about this one here is the darkness of the leaves. Look, and the markings. Markings are just absolutely fabulous. Now, when I bought it, I did observe that it was a bit kind of wonky in the pot, which indicates that the roots aren't in great nick, and I haven't gotten around to repotting it yet. So it's probably been overwatered over a period of time. So the first thing I did when I got this plant was to propagate it. I snipped off a few leaves and popped them into a glass of water, and let's just put you down there. We'll have a look at that now. So these are the cuttings that I put into the water maybe about 2 weeks ago. Just the easiest thing in the world to do. And if I look at these now, I think one of them is just beginning to grow a little teeny bit of a root. Hard to see, but yeah. And when I pop these into the water, I actually cut the leaf there, you can see, just to reduce the amount of area that would be requiring maintenance and losing water, through which water would evaporate, just to make sure that the cuttings got off to a great start. So yeah, I do need to repot that one there, because I would like to have the parent plant as well as the new ones. The new ones will take a while to become as an impressive a specimen as this. I did get one more house plant in my local garden centre, and it is this one here. For anyone local, you should know that my local garden centre is Springmount in Gorey, which, if you're in the vicinity, you should take a look at, because they have a small selection of houseplants. But I always find something really interesting in there when I go in, and like these ones, which were at half price when I went in just before Christmas. So look. Okay, so this, oh yeah, and poor Springmount, they were flooded over Christmas, so they're back in business again now. So you really should go in and pay them a visit and support them. Now look at the shape of that leaf. It's the characteristic aeroid shape, telling me immediately that this plant is an aeroid. And so many leafy houseplants that we grow indoors are from the aeroid family, which is quite extensive. Look at that. There are, of course, aeroids that are hardy and grow outdoors, like Dracunculus and just so many different types, including the very hardy Arum italicum. Arums are also within the aeroid family, and that is a very good garden plant that produces marbled leaves at the same time as snowdrops and hellebores and other early spring things. But these are more tropical, and as you can tell from this big, sumptuous, juicy leaf, this is something that needs warm temperatures. Now, I have read that this plant actually needs very warm temperatures, so we're talking 21 degrees minimum, which is quite hard for me to achieve here in my house, because this room that we're in now is not where this plant stays. This room, oh my goodness, it might drop to 14 degrees on some days. So I moved this plant into the warmer room, and and so that's where I'm going to try it. I wouldn't say I always have 21 degrees in there, but it's the warmest I can offer, so we'll give it a go. Now, there seems to be some damage to this plant. You can see that there is a brown mark there on the leaf, and there are brown tips here on this leaf. And unfortunately, even from when I bought it a couple of weeks ago, the new emerging growth wasn't doing well and started to brown off. And this can be due to low humidity. So these are high humidity plants, they need high humidity. It could be due to that, or it could be due to overwatering or irregular watering. It's been hard for me to find out what watering requirements exactly this plant needs, because a lot of sources say well-drained soil, and to ensure that the top inch of soil has dried out before you rewater, and then other places say to keep the plant moist. And because it's such a new variety, it's actually like the reliable sources like the RHS don't have good information, don't have any information on it except a listing. So it's difficult to find out exactly how we're supposed to water it, but I'm going to go with waiting until it dries out. And we will see then if it responds well to me. I would be so much happier if I saw a new growth coming up there. Of course, I probably should repot it, and just over Christmas I didn't get around to doing that kind of thing. Here we have the pot. It's a rhizome under the soil, and I don't actually see any roots coming out the base, which might be a bad sign. But very soon I will repot this thing and just see what I have there and keep it in the warm room. And I just so hope that this one does well, because it is absolutely gorgeous. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Look at those big leaves, and you can tell how big they are from the size of my face here. So I forgot to tell you the name. This is Xanthosoma lindenii, and it has been reclassified as Caladium recently, so you might find it under Caladium lindenii. And there are various videos on YouTube about how to care for this plant, many of which are only in Indonesian language. So with not understanding the language and the fact that those growing environments would be very different to what I have here in a house in Ireland, it has not been much use. But I do hope this one does well, because I absolutely love it to bits. And just a little interest here. Do you see the new leaf here has none of the telltale aeroid shape? It's only as the leaves develop and mature that they get the telltale aeroid shape there. So that's really interesting. So what I can say about this one is grow. Oh yes, I also noticed there's a kind of furriness along the stems. When I saw it first, I thought, oh no, it's spider mite or some other pest. But there is actually just like red hairs along the stems, which is just another really interesting and great talking point and interesting point for this plant. I really want to invest in a good number of very leafy house plants, because, well, they're amazing, aren't they? Okay, the last thing I want to show you today, I didn't buy in Springmount before Christmas, but I bought a little while earlier. I just never got around to sharing it with you, but today's the day. And this guy here, look at this. Ho, ho, ho. Now this is marked as Philodendron. And Philodendron, I do believe it is, so also an aeroid, incidentally. And if you are interested in aeroids, oh please do check out my recent video on the Botanic Gardens in Tenerife, where they have the most amazing aeroid tunnel. All plants like this that we grow as houseplants in this part of the world, but just giant specimens allowed to strut their stuff. And it really was amazing to behold. So this is a philodendron. I don't know which philodendron it is, but it's doing well since I got it. It seems to be pushing out a new growth here. I've had this a couple of months now and haven't repotted yet. I need to do that soon. But yeah, so just kind of water it when it's just drying out, and I've kept it in quite low light situation. I'm not sure which species it is, so that doesn't help to understand its cultural requirements. But a lot of these philodendrons really, really grow massive over time. And I can't wait to have to deal with like where to put an enormous, great big giant in the house. Of all problems in these weird and scary times to having to deal with a giant house plant is, well, it's got to be the best of them, isn't it? So I will look forward to that. So my philodendron, oh, I bought this in a lovely little nursery I happed upon up in the Wicklow Hills called Jolie's. I think they're quite new, and the restaurant there is just fantastic. Lovely, lovely atmosphere. And I think as they get going, they'll have a lot of great stuff over time. Okay, so I guess that's it. I just really wanted to show you these. I could make repotting videos of any of these when I get around to it. I actually don't want to repot them in the greenhouse because it's fierce cold out there at the moment. But I could do it indoors. But in any case, it does need to be done soon. So it is on my list of things to do. So if there is anything more about any of these that you would care to see, then let me know and we'll see what we can do. Okay, thank you as always for watching this video and following my channel. And yeah, if you haven't had the opportunity to subscribe yet, then I kindly ask you to do so. If you hit the subscribe button, then it adds to my numbers and it helps me, whereas I don't think it actually is of any detriment to you if you do so. So consider doing that. And thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.